Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see the current affairs of 9th August 2024. So let's get started with our discussion. And here I am taking Delhi edition of Hindu. So whichever edition you are having, you can go to that. No problem with any edition. So in this front page, so I saw there are two important articles relevant from our examination point of view. So first article is RBI holds repo rate at 6.5% for ninth time in a row. So what is the keyword? Keyword is repo rate. So from which subject point of view you can refer this article from? Okay, GS paper 3, economy. So only economy, or can we connect with any other subject? Think and tell me fast. Only economy or any other subject? From GS paper 1 and 2 you will be studying about society. So impact of repo rate on society, right? Okay, so now let us understand the concept of repo rate. So what is the repo rate? Okay, it comes under interest rate of monetary policy of RBI. So why are we using this monetary policy for what? Yes, to control inflation. Okay, in this inflation, RBI wants to control money supply. So what happens if there is increased repo rate? So what happens if increased repo rate? Money supply will be increased or decreased. So because of increasing of repo rate, what happens? Money supply in market is decreased. So whenever money supply in the market is decreased, we can decrease inflation, right? So whenever we are decreasing repo rate, then what happen? There will be increasing of money supply in market. In turn, it will increase inflation in the market, right? So let us now try to understand what is the concept of repo rate. So here we have RBI. So RBI is what? Central Bank of India. So here we will be having commercial banks. So commercial banks will be borrowing money from RBI. So on this money, now these banks need to pay interest rate, and this interest rate we are calling it as repo rate. Now let us apply the same concept here. So whenever RBI is increasing repo rate means what happened? This will be decreasing of money supply. So whenever decreasing of money supply, so banks will be having less money to lend the loans. Then what happened? This is called as contractive policy or restrictive policy. For example, if in the same case, whenever RBI is decreasing repo rate, means what happened? There will be increasing of money with the banks. They will be paying less interest rate to RBI so that they will be having more amount of money. So whenever there is more amount of money, they will give more loans. So whenever people are getting more loans, what happens? They will be having more money in the market or in their hands. And whenever they are having more money, people will not be like saving the money. So they will go to markets and they will be placing more demands. So whenever there are more demands, what happens? That will lead to economic growth of a country, right? So here the concept is now RBI is keeping repo rate how much? 6.5 percentage, and it is the same from last 9 months onwards. Okay, so that is the thing which is given in this article. So here you have to see some important concepts from mains point of view. What is the significance of repo rate? Tell me now. What is the significance of repo rate? What is the importance of repo rate? At least first batch students, you might be knowing about the significance. Tell me. Fast. Famada. Huh? Yes, we can control inflation next. Monica. We can control inflation next. Increase or decreasing, what can be done? Yes, we can increasing of demand of goods and services so that we can increase production. So whenever we are increasing production, we can increase our exports. So whenever we are increasing our exports, what happen? We can get foreign currency so that we can increase our forex reserves. Next. Everything is interlinking. Come on, you can do it fast. Obviously, we can increase employment opportunities. Next. Come on, think. Okay, economic growth. Okay, so this part is important from your mains, guys. You have to know at least 4 to 5 points regarding significance of each and every interest rate. So if you commonly know 5 to 6 points, and you can write them in every economy answer, right? So now let us see this article in detail. So this article is saying that Reserve Bank of India has maintained the repo rate at 6.5%. So what is this reverse repo rate? Which is opposite to this. Okay. So whenever RBI is giving money to commercial banks, on this money, interest rate need to be paid by these commercial banks to RBI is called as repo rate. So here reverse repo rate is nothing but from this commercial banks, RBI will be borrowing money, and on this RBI will be paying interest to this commercial banks, then that is called as reverse repo rate, triple R. Okay, I'm not talking about movie, so it is reverse repo rate. So always reverse repo rate is less than repo rate. So this is one important key thing you have to remember. Okay. So now what happened here is in the recent monetary policy committee, so they decided that they are going to keep this interest rate same as earlier, that is 6.5%. And here we can understand that monetary policy is maintaining consistency. So they want to maintain a stable monetary policy now. So it is very important for our economic growth and economic confidence. Why? Because recently Human Development Index of World Bank said, yes, there is a chance of getting into income trap. So we want to maintain proper economy and stability in our economy. So this step is taken. And this is also going to control inflation. Already you know that one big problem we are facing is inflation. What is inflation? Whenever there is increasing of price of goods and service in market, that is called as inflation. And even in our today's business page, it says about food inflation. There is increasing of food prices in the market. So whenever we are controlling this inflation means we can manage prices in the market so that we can ensure sustainable growth, and that will lead to overall economic stability of the country. Okay. And here if you see about some facts regarding repo rate. So first one here is RBI will be lending money to commercial banks. So on that money they will be paying interest, that is called as repo rate. Reverse repo rate is nothing but interest that is paid by RBI to commercial banks. So what is significance here is, as I said, the first one is we can control inflation. So whenever we are increasing this repo rate, what happens? We can reduce or we can control inflation. Whenever we are decreasing this repo rate, what happens? We can increase economic stability, and even we can increase money supply in the market. So as you think, first we explain this. And next one here is, it will be having influence on our economic growth. So why? Because of using this monetary policy, RBI will be controlling money supply in the market and wants to stimulate economic activity. And next one is we can manage liquidity. Liquidity is nothing but money supply in the market. And next one here is, it will be very useful for signaling mechanism. So based on the changes of repo rate, we can understand our economic position, economic situation of country. That is called as signaling mechanism. And this one is, it is also having impact on borrowing cost. So borrowing cost is nothing but whenever there is increased repo rate, what happened? So commercial banks need to pay more interest to commercial this RBI, right? So whenever in that time, if you go to any bank, so the bank which will be lending to you will be at a high interest rate. So whenever there is decreasing of repo rate means at that time money will be more in the banks. If you go to bank to borrow money, at that time interest rate will be low. So here there will be impact on the borrowing cost also based on this repo rate. And next one here is there is also effect on savings. So when you will go to banks and deposit the money, if you are getting high interest rate, that means whenever there is increasing of repo rate, if you go to banks, then you will be getting high interest rate if you're going for deposits. If repo rate is low means if you go for banks to deposit the money, you will be getting less interest rate. So your savings will be also dependent on a repo rate. So when the savings can be encouraged, whenever repo rate is high. Understood the concept? So these 5 to 6 points you need to remember, and whenever you are getting any answer regarding what is the significance of repo rate, you have to write all these points with relevant examples. Clear? This is from your mains point of view. Okay, I will give you one question. So try to solve this question from prelims. Read this question fast. Consider the following statements regarding repo rate. Mani, you have to answer this question. Repo rate is the rate at which central bank of a country lends money to commercial banks against government securities. An increase in the repo rate typically leads to decrease in inflation, and a decrease in repo rate results in higher borrowing cost for commercial banks. Tell me the answer. Which statements are correct? See the first statement, whether it is correct or wrong. Fast, fast. How much time will you take? It is very easy and simple question. What happens in increase or decrease of repo rate? All. See this third statement. So whenever decreasing of repo rate, what happen? The borrowing cost will be decreased, not higher. So this statement is wrong. So answer is 1 and 2 only. Any confusion? Okay, after this class, I will give you PDF and there you can see this. Okay. So here see this article. There is one article regarding anti-Romeo squads to curb harassment. So have you seen, for example, before girls' hostels or before girls' junior college or degree college or girls' universities, the boys will be staying there, right? So and they will be harassing girls. So especially UP wants to reactivate this anti-Romeo squads to curb harassments. So if you are writing about an answer regarding women empowerment or like eve teasing or harassment, and even in your ethics case study also you'll be getting this type of case studies, like if you're an IPS officer, how you'll be controlling this type of harassments. And even many movies they'll be showcasing this harassments, right? So you have to see like in your state, what are the steps taken by the government to reduce the sexual harassment or physical harassment or abuse of girls anywhere. And this is one case study that you can make a note somewhere so that you can write in your answers about anti-Romeo squads. Okay, clear? Okay, let us go to cities page. So cities page, there is nothing much important. Yeah, here you got that article regarding anti-Romeo squads. So whatever the thing I said, it is there here. And in the states page, you can see this article. How many of you belong into Kerala? No one, right? Okay, Kerala to invest in knowledge-based sectors. And whenever they are especially spending money in education, it will be very helpful. So actually, if any government wants to improve their state economy or if they want to go for development, they have to invest in two sectors. First one is education sector and second one is health sector. So if you see any society or any country or any state or any government per se, if they are investing in this education and health, they will be forward in any number of indicators. For example, why this Norwegian countries or Scandinavian countries are first in any indices, because they spend a lot in health and as well as education. So if you see in US also till 12th class, it is entirely free education. It is not like whatever the education we are having in our India. And even you're having health facilities, they have to pay insurance every month in US. Okay, so that they'll be not having burden if they're getting any disease, right? So we have to focus on education and health, but unfortunately in our country, the spending will be more on unnecessary things rather than competitive of education and health. And here you have to see the case studies like which countries, for example, Scandinavian countries. So take a note of this. Scandinavian countries and other countries like US. Next one is China, and next one is Japan, next one is South Korea. So what are these countries, how much they are expending or doing expenditure in this education health sector? So make a note of this, because education health is very important from your governance GS paper 2 point of view. So every year you will be getting question either in this or this for sure. So if you're getting mains question, you can write this data. That is a comparative study. And even in your essay also, you can write this dimension of health and education wherever it is necessary. There you need the data. So this comes under your case studies. Okay, search about this. So how these countries are spending in education and health, why they are having good in, why they are running forward in many indicators. Okay, and you can directly go to editorial page today. Because today is Friday, no, there is Spotlight, there is Metroplus, so don't waste your time on that. So in this editorial, the first article is a movement for just transition litigation to take wing. So can you expect something? What is this article talking about? Can you guess? Huh? Social environment change. So actually recently one judgment came. That judgment of Supreme Court said that yes, right against climate change is also a fundamental right. And take note of that case, M.K. Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India. M.K. Ranjit Singh versus Union of India 2024 case, which says that right against climate change is also a fundamental right. So in which judgment it came? So in the Great Indian Bustard and Climate Change Action Verdict. So this case is regarding Great Indian Bustard. Do you know about this Great Indian Bustard? So have you seen that bird? So actually it is the largest flying bird. So actually this number had been decreased and there are just 90s to 100 birds in India. So what is the reason for the decreasing of these numbers? Any idea? Huh? Which projects? Okay, it is one reason. Actually, main reason is, do you know the electric wires? So whenever there are any electric wires, so they will come in abstraction. Like actually, they are abstracting their flying method. So whenever they are coming and touching these electric wires, they will be getting electric shock, electrocution. And actually, the problem here is they are very heavy. They can't change the direction immediately. So without their control, they will be going and hitting these electric wires. It is a main reason for this decreasing of number of this Great Indian bustards. And actually, Supreme Court earlier gave the judgment like, so we should not have overhead wires. We have to make them into underground, at least in these areas where these birds are there. But it is very, very difficult. Okay. So in this case, Supreme Court said that right against climate change is also a fundamental right. So you have to see this article. So tell me from which subject we can see this article? Tell me fast. Huh? Okay, polity. GS paper 2 polity. So under which article we can see this? Under article 21. Next. Yes, from environment GS paper 3. Environment from which subject or which topic we can deal with? Yes, very good. Biodiversity next. And climate change. And we have climate change related conventions. For example, COPs. And we have Paris climate deal. Paris Climate Deal of 2015, and we have COPs, and we have other acts or any policies related to this. Next, other subjects fast. Yes, from GS paper 1 geography. So where climate change related extreme events are facing. Next, even from GS paper 1 and 2, society and social issues. So here we can talk about vulnerable people. Huh? Huh? How? Yes, we can see from science and technology like which advanced technology we can use so that we can preserve this biodiversity. Yes, next. Okay, from ethics point of view also, if you are a forest officer, so what are the steps you will be taking to save this biodiversity, right? So from ethics, you can get even a case study. So these are the subjects you have to see from this article point of view. So now I will give you the dimensions what you have to focus. You have to see first one is fundamental rights, and even here you can get a question regarding so judicial activism and protection of biodiversity. Yes or no? So in yesterday's class we discussed judicial activism and federalism. So now here you may get a question judicial activism and protection of environment and biodiversity etc. There you have to write this case. Next, you have to see what is this climate change, what are the causes of this climate change, and what is the impact of this climate change. Next, uh, so how can we use science and technology to address this problem of climate change and to save biodiversity? Next, come on, think. Okay, FR and FD, and I will also add this DPSP. Next, think, you can do it. Okay, let us see this article in detail. So what it is saying, I will be giving you a brief idea. So in April 2024, Supreme Court said right against climate change is a fundamental right in M.K. Ranjit Singh versus Union of India case. So whenever you are writing case, you have to write compulsory year also. Year also is very important. And actually it is saying that yes, it is recognizing human rights. So right against climate change is also a right. So whenever climate change is happening, it is violating human rights. So here Supreme Court is trying to protect human rights and to preserve the rights of people. And this one is now there is a debate which is going on regarding biodiversity. So how we can balance this climate change and biodiversity? So what are the frameworks that we need to integrate in our policies so that we can address this problem of climate change and this protection of biodiversity together? So which to be given priority? And next one here is we are talking about just transition framework. So why climate change is happening? Because of mainly human activities. Humans are very great, right? So we are also very great. So wherever you see, there will be here and there throwing of litter, throwing of plastic. So actually, the thing here is we are talking that we want to move from non-renewable energy to renewable energy sources, and that thing even our union finance minister focused on this year budget. So there they talked about what? Solar energy and small modular reactors. So from last 1 month I am telling only these two, but till now you are not saying that. Okay, so here how we can ensure the use of science and technology in moving towards non-renewable towards renewable energy. So that we need to focus on. And next one here is we are also recognizing the nature, right? So whenever we are recognizing the nature, then we can come up with some inclusive policies and we can come up with some environmental policies so that we can add this intrinsic value of biodiversity to our governance process. So it is called as environmental governance. And next one here is now, here judiciary also involved, and judiciary is also actively taking this climate related cases. So that here what happens whenever judiciary is taking this case and whenever it is giving judgment, it will provide wide range of awareness to the people about environmental awareness and environmental protection, and what is their role. And next one is, it is also empowering these vulnerable communities. So actually, whenever climate change is happening, who is vulnerable? Either Ambani or the people who are living in slums. People who are living in some slums, right? So especially marginalized people are more vulnerable. So here government is also going to take some steps regarding the people who are affecting with this climate change, and government wants to provide social equity and environmental policy where these people need to be participated, so that we can go for inclusive growth and inclusive policies. And next one is, we need to want a balanced energy transition. So whenever we are talking about from non-renewable to renewable, so can we shift within 1 year or 2 years? No, right? So for the sustainable means, to make it long term, we have to take proper dimensions and proper, we should be very, very careful that it should not going to have more negative impacts than positive impacts. So those things we need to taken care of. And here you have to know the constitutional provisions. Okay, so here it is talking about Article 48A. So 48A, which comes under which? FR or DPSP or FD? Okay, 48 comes under fundamental rights or DPSP or, yes, DPSP, Direct Principles of State Policy. So Article 48A says that environmental protection to be taken care of, and Article 51AG, 51A comes under, yes, fundamental duties also says that we need to promote wildlife conservation and we need to guarantee the rights safeguarded for climate change. And even we have Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty, and Article 14 talks about persons, they have right to equality. So whenever climate change is happening, so rich people, they will be not getting affected, but the poor, vulnerable or marginalized people, they are getting affected. So this right to equality is violating here. So all these articles you need to write whenever you are writing answer regarding climate change. Okay, and even you have to see one more Supreme Court case, so try to make a note of this case. MC Mehta versus Kamal Nath case of 2000. So in this case itself, Supreme Court said that right to clean environment is extension of right to life. So way back in 2000 itself, Supreme Court said. But again, it took other new cases in this time, and now again it said that right against even a climate change is a fundamental right. Okay, clear? Now let us see about climate change and human rights, where they are intersecting. So if you are getting a question regarding, so how climate change is affecting the human rights, then you have to write these points. So whenever climate change is happening, it is affecting their life and as well as livelihood. So how? So for example, because of increasing of global temperature, melting of glaciers is happening. Because of that, what happened? Increasing of sea level rise. So people who are living in these coastal areas and people who are living in islands, so their life and their livelihood will be getting affected, right? And especially people who are living in these coastal areas, whenever there is any tsunami or any cyclones, there will be floods and their life, property, everything will be gone. And each one here is, whenever there is climate change, there is no proper clean water and sanitation. Example says this Wayanad. What happened? Whether do they have the proper clean water and sanitation now? No. And next one here is, their health and well-being also get affected. So there will be rapid spread of communicable diseases like diarrhea if they are having contaminated water and food. And because of this climate change and weather patterns, agricultural productivity also can be decreased. So we can't ensure food security. And because of this climate change, so people need to be migrated from places, right? So if there are vulnerable areas, so even in pre-disaster steps also, we will be taking them from that place to, we will be shifting to other place. That means the migration will be happening, and even the displacement of people will be happening. So that sometimes people will be asking for asylum and they will become refugees to some other countries. So in this way, their rights will be get affected. And this one is, because of this climate change, it will be affecting indigenous community who are rely on natural resources. For example, tribal areas. So people who are living on, who are mainly based on this tribal products or like forest products, their livelihood again get affected if there is any natural disaster. So like that, you can write at least 4 to 5 points now, right? So where exactly climate change and human rights are intersecting. So these were the points you have to write. Clear? And if you see the next editorial, here you can see change in Bangladesh, the challenges for India. Now tell me what are the challenges we have. First, I already discussed this topic. India-Bangladesh relations. From past 4 days we are discussing, right? So it is important from IR, from GS paper 2. You will be getting both prelims and mains related question. So from mains, you have to know these challenges first. And you have to see how our foreign policy towards Bangladesh is going to be shifted. And from prelims point of view, you have to see the states which are sharing boundary with Bangladesh, or else you may get question like, so which of the following countries are sharing longest border with India? Like they may give Afghanistan or like Pakistan, Myanmar, Bangladesh. So Bangladesh we are sharing longest and shortest with Afghanistan. So from that point of view also you can get that basic question as well. Now tell me, what are the challenges we are having? So I said 5 challenges in our day before yesterday's class. Now tell me fast. Yes, first one is transit and transshipment. To connect our northeastern part, Bangladesh plays a very important role. So transit is about the transportation, okay, and transshipment is about movement of ships. Next, yes, you can write trade. Next, fast, fast, fast. Yes, border security issues. Next. Huh? Yes, China factor and Pakistan factor. Next. Fast, fast. You can do it. Why are you thinking that much? You have to say. Come on, come on. Huh? Yes, refugees. Next. You have that capability. Come on. Speak out. Online students, please. On YouTube students, please. Interim government. How we will be making the relations? Next. So we don't have proper relations with opposition government like Bangladesh Nationalist Party by Zia Khaleda Zia. Next, which technology? Come on, come on. And even what is happening now? Hindus are killing by Muslims there. So again, this is one cause of concern. Okay, so all these are the different challenges we are facing. Those are given in this article. Okay, let us see what are the things they are given in article. So first one is now democratic backsliding is happening. So we don't know like whether this army will be continuing or whether there will be a chance of conducting of election. So now actually Bangladesh is a democracy country, but now again now it is under control of army. So we don't know the future of Bangladesh democracy. So this is one important challenge because whenever any democracy is there, as you know that India is the largest democratic country, we will be having good relations with a democratic country. But if the future of this Bangladesh will be in hands of army like Myanmar, so we will be losing the relationship. And next one here is public sentiment is also getting affected because if you see here, if you see the geography of this Bangladesh and India, so many rivers are moving between India and Bangladesh. So in this, especially whenever there is a chance of getting floods, so Bangladesh and India, they will come and they will take the steps together. So we don't know like whether upcoming government will be helping the people regarding this or not. Again, this is also one important issue. And you have to see which are the rivers in India flowing into this Bangladesh along even the tributaries you have to know. So which river will be flowing? Brahmaputra and as well as even Ganga also. So you have to see those rivers and as well as tributaries which are moving between India and Bangladesh. And next one here is, again we don't know how this Teesta river issue will be going with. Okay, so here West Bengal government is very, very strict. They don't want to come with the sharing of this Teesta water with Bangladesh, but we don't know how this dynamics will be going on. And this one is even there is a threat of rising of extremism there because of including of Pakistan factor of Jamaat group. And this one is even there is impact on minorities. So actually this Bangladesh is a Muslim majority country. Who are minorities? Hindus. So this Muslims are attacking this Hindus here. Again there is impact on this minority. So whenever they are having the humanitarian concern, they will cross the border and they will enter into India as refugees. Again, refugees become a great problem in India. Okay, so that's it. So here see this question. India-Bangladesh relations have evolved significantly in recent years, encompassing wide range of bilateral issues. So I said, so whenever this period of Sheikh Hasina is there, it is a golden period between India and Bangladesh relations in different areas like people to people contact, proper cooperation and border security, and even if you see transit, transshipment, every way we had very good relations. And even we dissolved lots of issues between India and Bangladesh, like enclave issue like that. But now there is again a big question mark that how the new government which will be forming in Bangladesh will be having the relations with India. Okay, so we have to see this. So can you write an answer for this question? Critically analyze the current status of India-Bangladesh relations. That means you have to write what are the challenges we are having. At least 5 to 6 points. Can you write? So take down this question. Fast. Take down this question. And here you have to draw India and Bangladesh map for sure. So wherever you are writing international relations related question, for example, India, UK, India, Bangladesh, India, Nepal, India, Bhutan, India, Myanmar. So you have to draw map for sure. Without map, don't write answer of international relations. Okay. And see the next topic on monetary policy and financial market. So what is this article talking about? Any idea? Monetary policy and financial markets. Any idea? What is this monetary policy? Tell me. Monetary policy. Are you making dosa? No, right? Tell me. Okay. So is this monetary policy present only in India? So we have central bank, that is RBI. So RBI will be controlling money supply and inflation through this monetary policy. So is India is only having monetary policy or any other country? Yes. So other countries will be also having central banks and they will be also having monetary policy. So this article is saying that banks of Japan also in their monetary policy, they raised interest rates. So I want to ask one question. So now this article is saying that Japan in their monetary policy increased interest rates. And now my question is, listen carefully, what is the impact on India? Because we came up with LPG. I'm not talking about liquid petroleum gas. It is LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization. In which year? 1947? 1950? When? 1991. Okay. So now G stands for globalization. So what is globalization? So every country is interrelated. Okay, now what is the impact of monetary policy decision of Japan on India? Are you getting my question? Am I making any sense? Now tell me. Come on, I have to write points. So what happens if Japan is increasing interest rates? So what will it impact on Indian economy? Huh? Okay. That is not primary one. I want primary. Think. Okay. When interest rate is increasing, what is the impact on saving of Japan? What happens? I said no. What is significance of interest rate on in savings? Decrease or increase? Yes, in Japan increases. Savings in Japan will be increases. That means people now in Japan, they want to take their money and they want to deposit in their Japan banks, right? In Japan banks. So here whenever they are depositing money in Japan banks, they will invest in India. That means what will be the impact? Yes, very good. There is decreasing of investment, foreign investment in India. So this is the point you need to know. Clear? So whenever, not only in Japan, in any country for say, in US, so recently in US also they increased interest rates to control inflation. So whenever any country is increase in their interest rates, so there will be decreasing of foreign investments in India. Okay. Now whenever we are having less investment, now tell me what is the impact in India? Are you getting my question? You have to think like this. Just not reading whatever given in the newspaper is not at all useful. So in this way, you have to analyze the things. Now tell me what will be the impact in India fast. Huh? Yes, employment can be decreased employment. Next. Yes, decreasing of economic growth. Yes, inflation will be furthermore increased. Next. Yes, currency value. Yes, next. Next. Import cost will be raised. So whenever import cost is rising, what happens? Our foreign reserves will be decreased. Next. Okay, employment, poverty, hunger. And next one is standard of life. So all these comes under this employment. Next. Yes, production can be decreased. Very good. Very good, students. Next. Are you getting the points? Like how to read this economy related articles? Next, come on. Think. Sir, tell me. That's only. Come on, is there anything? What about savings? Savings in India? Yes. Decreasing of savings in India. Clear? How many points you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that enough to write a mains answer? Can you write 150 words? Are you getting confidence, right? How to write mains answer? Yes or no? Be loud. What about your confidence? Where did it go? Okay, now let us see this article, what it is saying. So this article is saying that everywhere from this COVID-19 period onwards, there is increasing of inflation and economic slowdown happened in each and every single country. So they are trying to control their inflation rates. So now here recently interest rate had been increased in Japan. So because of this, what happened? There is impact on even employment in US. Just now I said about employment in India will be decreasing. So this article is saying that even there is decreasing of employment in US also. So whenever employment is decreasing, what happened? There will be decreasing of growth, decreasing of income, decreasing of livelihood, everything will be getting infected. So there is a fear of getting recession. Okay. Now my question is, what is recession? Am I making any sense? Or just I am going on speaking like a mad girl? No, right? Tell me, what is this recession? Okay, decreasing of production. Okay. Okay, unemployment. Okay, tell me the terms. What will be there in recession? What you are expecting? One is decreasing of growth. Next one is unemployment. Next, inflation. Next, come on. You have to participate. Yes, trade will be decreased. Trade will be affected. Next. Production decreased. Yeah. Savings will be decreased. Supply? Yes, demand and supply imbalance. Next. That comes under unemployment. Economic crisis. Very good. Decreasing of growth, economic crisis. Say some synonyms for that. Okay, so recession is defined as a significant decline in economic activity which is spreading across the economy, which will be lasting more than a few months. So here what happens here is there is declining of GDP and real income and declining of employment and industrial production decreases and wholesale retail sales will be also decreased. So whatever the points you said are there here. Now are you getting confidence that I am learning economy? Yes? Okay. So whenever you are writing recession, you have to include all these words that you said, like GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, wholesale and retail sales. Everything will be get decreased. And tell me, what are the causes of this recession? What are the reasons? So first one is unexpected economic shock. Example, COVID-19 pandemic. And apart from that, every country's economy will be depend on one important factor, that will be energy security. So if you see our energy security, are we having independent energy? We will be depending on other countries for getting crude oil. If there is any crisis is coming in that country where we are importing the crude oil, obviously the impact will be seen in our country. Okay, so crude oil prices is also one important economic shock example. And this one is uncontrolled inflation. Yes. And this one is deflation, excessive deflation. That means whenever there is much more decreasing of prices, for example, Venezuela. And next one is whenever there is lack of consumer confidence in economy. So these are the important reasons that causes recession. And now tell me what will be the impact as you said. First one is unemployment. Next one is dropout or shutting down of business. And next one is dropping of government revenue. So whenever people are not getting income, they will not pay any taxes. So again, government revenue will be get decreased. And next one is weakening of currency. And next one is disruptions in the global chain. That means trade will be get affected and there will be decreasing of investment. So whatever the points you said are there here? Yes? Okay. So see this question. Can you write the answer for this question? Think once. Discuss the impact of global recession on Indian economy and how should India mitigate the adverse effects while ensuring sustainable growth. So how can you write introduction? Recession, what is the meaning of recession? I gave the definition. And this one is you have to see what is the impact, all these things, 4 to 5 points with examples. And this one is based on the problems you have to give the measures. Can you write that? It's easy, right, for you especially. Can you write? So today's question is this. You have to, two questions. Okay, now onwards, I will increase some more standards so that you can write much better answers. Say this article, Geography, Environment, and Disaster Management. I have to see here now. Say the title here, Why Himalayan Towns Need a Different Kinds of Development. What is the keyword? Himalayas. So in which states it is moving on? 13 states. So can you tell me some examples? Not 13 states, it is 11 states and even union territories are included. Okay. Now tell me at least 5 or 6 states where Himalayas are moving on. Okay, tell me. Tell me those two UTs. Okay. So you have to write down in which states they are moving on, because in questions you will be getting like, so consider the following states which are the non-Himalayan states, which are the Himalayan states, and they'll give 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 5, 5, 6 like that. You will be getting questions. So you have to be aware like in which states it is moving on. So now tell me what are the problems of Himalayan states? Problems, disasters. Landslides, earthquakes, floods, Cloudburst. Next. Forest fires. Yeah, forest fires. Very good. I want some examples. Can you tell me examples, recent examples from last 2 months? Huh? Yes, landslides in Uttarakhand. Himachal Pradesh. Very good. Next. Melting of glaciers. Very good. Come on. Think. Recall the things. Wildfires in. Forgot. Landslide. Wildfires. Recently. Because of heat wave. Forgot. Forget me also. Okay, now this article is saying that whenever we are going for developmental projects, is it sustainable? No, because it is tectonically active area and it is not much stable. Until now also there is increasing of height of Himalayas is happening because of this movement of Indo-Australian plate towards Eurasian plate. Everyone know that. So they are called as young folded mountains because of this reason, right? So actually this article is saying that, do you know about this Joshimath sinking? So what is happening in Himalayas is even there are sacred rivers. Can you tell me some sacred places? Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri, Gangotri, and even we have Kasi, right? So in these regions, especially pilgrims, they will be going for this pilgrimage sites. So whenever there is increasing of rush of people, what happens? They have to go for expansion. So there is rapid expansion without proper planning is happening. So in that area, actually it is not bear that much huge population, but even though they are expanding this because of the Joshimath sinking is happening, right? So here this article is saying that especially in Himalayan towns, whenever they want to go for urbanization, so we have to go for definite planning for that. So we should not go for unplanned expansion of these urban areas. So the important reason for the destruction of these Himalayan towns is because of unplanned urbanization. So here this article is saying that cities like Srinagar, Guwahati, Shillong and Shimla, they are smaller towns and they face significant challenges in managing the problems like, apart from disaster, they are having problems like sanitation, solid and liquid waste management, and they are facing even water crisis even in these Himalayan states. So now here this article is saying that this Himalayan region, it is facing the pressure from urbanization development, and even there is high intensity tourism is also happening, and they are going for unsustainable infrastructure development, and they are not using resources like land and water properly, and even there is a climate change is also having some impact like cloudburst, unseasonal rainfall, everything is happening here. So here this article is saying that we need to have a proper planned development. That's it. And actually the students who are watching this class on online or on YouTube, so if you want to take mains answer writing here, so we are going to start new batch of mains answer writing from this Monday. So there I will be providing you a detailed schedule for next 1 year which cover all your GS papers 1, 2, 3 and 4, and even we are going to cover essays and case studies there. And apart from that, giving answers and model answers, sorry, questions and model answers, you will be also having live class where we will be practicing writing essays and as well as case studies that you will be not getting in any other areas. And even we are going to provide you the evaluation of your answers. So this course will be very useful for your increasing of your answer writing or to enhance your skills. So try to join this course. And if you want to contact us, you can call us on the number 8074765513. So that's all, guys. And apart from this, there are 2 other articles in our today's newspaper. So let me show that fast. Yeah, here you can see one article. It is about instability in India's neighborhood is a concern, says CDS. So what is CDS? Chief Defense Staff. You have to know about this. Already I gave question, I think so. So in 2024 there was question on that. Okay, and mostly there are political articles only fighting. Actually in business page there is one article. You can see RBI cannot ignore food inflation. So what is food inflation? What is headline inflation? No idea, right? So you have to revise what is headline inflation, what is food inflation. So this is your homework. And here you can see one more article. Coffee output may be significantly lower. So actually in 2022, there was question regarding tea board. Tea board will be regulating tea in India. And you also got question like which of the following states are producing tea and coffee. So here this article is saying that coffee output may be significantly lower. So here you have to know about different types of coffee which is produced in India and from which country we got coffee, or like after entry, after this Britishers enter into India, they started this coffee plantations, right? You have to see whether French or Dutch or Portuguese or British, they brought this coffee into India, and you have to see what are the significant climatic features are required for the growing of coffee in India, and you have to see in which states you are growing this coffee. Okay, so all this in your state, I know. Apart from that, that question appeared in UPS in 2022. So in that way also, if you see any crop in the news, you have to know each and everything regarding that crop. Okay, so these are the important articles that appear in our today's Hindu newspaper. So by this I'm concluding, and thank you so much guys. I think that you got at least some insights like how to read your newspaper and how to represent the things that you learned from newspaper in your answers. And if you like this class, hit the like button and share this class to your friends, and do subscribe to Rathod's IS Academy. Any doubts?